Georgia pastor Dewey Smith went on an absolutely legendary rant about gay rights. Check this out.
And God said to me, here's the problem. You guys in the church can be so hypocritical. He said, in the African-American church, you really got to be careful. I said, what do you mean? He said, because you are guilty of condemning the Supreme Court system and preaching against something. But if you look at half of our choirs, and a great number of our artists that we call abominations and we call demons, we demonize and dehumanize the same people that we use, and we don't say nothing about the gay choir director because he's good for business. As long as the choir sound good, I ain't saying nothing about his sexuality. We have done what the slave master did to us: dehumanize us, degrade us, demonize us, but then use them for our advantage. It's hypocritical to talk about the Supreme Court and calling them Sodom and Gomorrah, which is not what it's all about. But if that's the case, half our churches have been Sodom and Gomorrah for 100 years. He told me, boy, you got to re-examine yourself. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, on one hand, you quote homosexuality is an abomination from Leviticus. But you say that right after you ate some shrimp, some catfish, and some lobster. You quote Leviticus while you're wearing a wool blend suit. It's also in Leviticus that you shouldn't wear mixed linens. It's in Leviticus that if your wife is on her cycle, that you shouldn't go in the same house with her or even sleep on the same bed with her. That's in Leviticus too. Here's my point. We pick and choose the scriptures that we want to use to beat folk up with, rather than look at our own lives. Let me tell you something. If God wanted to judge America, he wouldn't need the Supreme Court system. If he wanted to judge America because of sin, he would judge me in '88 at the Freaknik in Atlanta. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. These folks are abomination. They're nasty. Tell you what you do then. Go find every song that's been written by a gay person for the last 100 years and don't sing it in church. Let's see how many songs you can minister on that Sunday. Bishop, don't tell me what the Bible says about homosexuals and you change wives like we change underwear. Sit yourself, your hypocritical self down.
Come on. That was fucking brilliant. That was fucking brilliant. That was so good, I got nothing to say. I don't know if you caught it. He just used all the talking points I use here on Secular Talk. He just quoted all the Bible verses I usually quote. Would come back to me, and I'm usually saying, oh, you know, you can't wear a mix of two different fabrics, you can't eat shellfish, you can't do this, you can't do that. There's a chance that Pastor Dewey Smith watches Secular Talk. Pastor, I see you. This is without question my favorite pastor in America. And look, in all seriousness, I want this guy to be like I don't know how big his congregation is right now. It might be huge already, and I don't know. I'm just ignorant of it. But if it's not, it should be. I want this guy to be like the Christian leader in America, because that every single point was perfect. Just flat out calling out the hypocrisy of pointing your finger at gay people and saying, you guys are the problem. You guys are an abomination. You guys shouldn't act that way. Meanwhile, so many things are ignored in the Bible. Have you ever heard anybody who's anti-gay and quotes the Bible say anything about banning barbershops in America? That's also in the Bible. You're not allowed to ever cut your hair or shave your face. Virtually everybody who's a guy that I know has done that. So, I mean, what? Do you not realize that you're an abomination and you should be put to death according to your own Bible? So using your own logic, your own moral code, tattoos, body piercing, should we go around and shut down all places where you can get a tattoo or you can get a body piercing? Again, if you believe in the Bible, and then you have to take the Old Testament and the New Testament, take all of it and try to implement it literally, because that's what you're trying to do with the passage in Leviticus, which says being gay is an abomination in the eyes of God. Okay, so I take it the same right-wing Christians who scream about that and say this isn't debatable, God said it, I take it they're also going to say, hey, we should really implement some sort of communist-like system economically. Because if anything's crystal clear in the New Testament, Jesus Christ is anti-rich. In fact, he says rich people cannot get into heaven. They just can't get into heaven. Read the story of Lazarus in the Bible. They just can't get into heaven. So understand, if you want to cherry pick, okay, then we could have a dueling cherry picking contest, and the liberals can pick all the lovely parts of the Bible, you conservatives can pick all the terrible parts of the Bible, and then it'll be a wash. Or if you really want to be objective in your approach to implementing the Bible, okay, then on economic issues, no more rich people. You know, everybody basically makes the same amount of money. And on social issues, you have the most ridiculous backwards system imaginable where, like he said, ban all clothes that are mixes of fabrics, ban all fish markets, ban all barbershops. Women can never be teachers under any circumstance. A woman is never allowed to teach a man anything in the Bible. And the list goes on, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because nobody actually literally follows the Bible when it's a book that has, you know, untold numbers of contradictions. So this pastor's right to point out, hey, look at the contradictions. Don't be a fucking hypocrite. If anything, all you should do is judge yourself. If you want to hold yourself to some sort of arbitrary standard, by all means, go right ahead. But don't you dare point your fingers at other people, point your finger at other people and say, hey, you're the problem when you don't have your own shit in order. How does another part of the Bible go? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone or something like that. That seems to be the main argument of Pastor Dewey Smith here. And while everybody listening knows I'm an agnostic atheist and I'm an anti-theist, I can tell you this for sure. I don't believe in anything in the Bible. I don't believe in any religion, but I would love it if the Dewey Smiths of the world and the Malala Yousafzais of the world, these people went out in terms of their interpretation of religion, because if everybody followed a more liberal, secular version of Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, any and all religions, then we'd all be in a much better place.